I love C words: chocolate, cupcakes, cash, consistency, and compliance. And those last three things, if you follow them, if you're consistent and you're compliant, you will get to the cash that you're entitled to receive. So let's talk about one of the biggest challenges you face today, and that's the reasonable collection effort. Particularly with so many accounts having high deductibles, you have more self-pay, people have a bigger cost share, you need to take a reasonable collection effort. And in fact, Medicare has given some guidance on that. If you want to check it out yourself, go to Transmittal 435 in the Medicare Provider Reimbursement Manual, Part 1, Chapter 3, where Section 308 will discuss the criteria for allowable bad debt and what is involved in a reasonable collection effort, which is Section 310. If you take your Medicare accounts where there has been no payment on the patient's portion of that account and you send it ultimately to collection, you have to take that same effort for the rest of your accounts. In fact, under 310, what it says, if a provider refers to a collection agency its uncollected non-Medicare patient charges, which are comparable to the Medicare deductible and coinsurance amounts due the provider, Medicare requires the provider to also refer its uncollected Medicare deductible and coinsurance amounts to a collection agency. Basically, if what you do for one, you must consistently do for the other. So consider that as you're facing the challenges of uncollected self-pay debt. But remember, there are changes afoot this year. And one of the biggest changes is the industry. The debt collection industry and credit bureaus are responding to the spike in healthcare debt. And in fact, the major credit bureaus have announced that they plan to go to a 180-day marker for healthcare debt. In other words, before healthcare debt can be reported to them, it has to be 180 days old. Here's what you can do. Send out statements consistently to your patients, as you have always done. But do not send that account to a credit bureau until it's 180 days old. There's a difference between a credit bureau and a collection agency. You can send it to collection, but sending it to a credit bureau is something that happens at 180 days. That's advised. That's what's coming this year. And as a best practice, please consider alerting your patients that you have a financial assistance program available. Put it on every single bill and statement that you send to them, that you will work with them, that you will accept time payments. Whatever your financial assistance program is, make a note that you were there for your patients. And if you have patients who experience extreme financial hardship, what you can do is establish a financial hardship policy that you use consistently throughout your organization for all of your patients. That financial hardship policy can be best determined on the poverty guidelines that are published every January in the Federal Register. If you want to see what those guidelines were for 2015, go to the Federal Register from January 22nd, 2015, and you will see the poverty guidelines for this year. What the poverty guidelines do is they show you how many people are in the household and how much income is involved. Use that standard to help you determine when you would completely write off a debt or discount a debt. And if you take some of these steps, hopefully things will get better and you won't need any of my magic to make it go away and get your accounts. In the meantime, if you want more information on how you can collect your own self-pay accounts or any of the other educational pieces that we have available, including documentation training for your field providers, how to do your own internal audits, and collecting your own accounts, go to ems-financial.com. That's www.ems-financial.com. See you online, folks. Bye-bye.